Something unusual is sitting in your chart this week, Taurus, and almost nobody is talking about it. A wound planet has parked itself in the part of your birth chart that governs your values, your money, and your sense of self-worth. At the very same time, communication is shifting into your home sector, and the moon is passing through a sign that loves to talk before it thinks. 3 different astrologers, 3 different traditions, 1 week. And they are all circling the same theme. Stay with me, because by the end of this you will understand why today could either expose a blind spot or hand you a genuine breakthrough, depending on one thing you do in the next few hours. The bigger picture. Let us start with the planet most people forget to watch. In Western astrology, Chiron, the so-called wounded healer, is currently transiting your second house, the house of self-worth, income, and personal values. This is not a small visitor. Chiron tends to linger, and wherever it sits, it asks you to look honestly at an old wound so it can eventually become a source of strength rather than shame. Right now, that wound lives in how you see your own worth. It can show up as an urge to change how you look, how you are perceived, even your name or title almost overnight. There is real potential here for something that looks shocking or impressive from the outside. But here is what almost every astrologer misses about Chiron transits like this one. The same energy that can elevate your image can also tempt you to overreach, to skip the preparation, to assume the risk is smaller than it is. The lesson is not do not change. It is do not change carelessly. Layered on top of that, Mercury has just moved into Leo and into your 4th house, the house of home and family, where it will stay until August 25th. Mercury in this position does not like small talk. It wants real conversations, the kind where you finally say what you need instead of hoping someone reads your mind. And then there is the moon, currently moving through Gemini, a placement that speeds up thinking and loosens the filter between what you feel and what you say. In Vedic tradition, a Gemini moon day is treated with real caution for earth signs like you, because it can quietly generate friction you did not create and did not ask for. Take a breath here, because this next part is the thread that ties everything together. The Western lens sees today as an identity and values crossroads, driven by Chiron's demand for honest self-worth work. The Vedic lens, watching the moon's placement, sees today as a day requiring restraint in speech, because the atmosphere itself is primed for misunderstanding. Put those together and you get a single, coherent picture. You are being asked to be more honest about who you are, while also being more careful about how you say it. Love. If you are in a relationship, or navigating something close to one, this is where Mercury's move into your home sector starts to matter most. You may have noticed a pull lately to say what you actually want at home, instead of dropping hints and waiting for your partner to catch on. That instinct is accurate. The energy today supports naming your needs directly, with warmth rather than accusation. Something like, "I need us to talk about how we are splitting things at home," lands very differently than a slow build of quiet resentment. But remember the Gemini moon sitting underneath all of this. Words can slip out faster than intended today, especially in emotionally loaded conversations. If you feel a comment forming that is sharper than you mean it to be, that is your cue to pause, not push through. Speak from the heart about what the relationship means to you, rather than replaying every past frustration. The goal is not to win the conversation. It is to be understood. Career. Now here is where it gets interesting, because that same Chiron energy reshaping your self-worth does not stay confined to your personal life. It follows you into work. This is a stretch where your professional reputation, your title, even how visible you are online may feel unusually significant. Current transits suggest increased opportunities to be seen in a new light, whether that is a promotion conversation, a rebrand, or simply showing up differently in a meeting. The energy today leans toward boldness paying off, but only when it is backed by actual skill and timing. This is the part most people skip past too quickly. Overestimating your readiness while underestimating the risk is the exact trap this transit sets. Before you make the bold move, the confident pitch, the public statement, ask yourself honestly whether you have actually prepared for it or whether you are just riding the impulse. Many people with Chiron transits like this report that the wins come when confidence and preparation arrive together. When only confidence shows up alone, The same energy can produce a visible miss instead. Money. And this naturally leads into money, because for Taurus, career, reputation, and finances have always been tightly braided together. Chiron sitting in your values house means questions about worth are not staying abstract. They may be showing up in very concrete decisions, like a purchase you are second-guessing, an investment in your appearance or image, or a new financial commitment tied to a fresh title or identity. Stay practical here. If you have been considering something like cosmetic work, a rebrand, or a bigger financial leap tied to how you present yourself, this transit does not say no. It says slow down and verify. Think twice before lending money to a coworker or stretching your resources to fund someone else's plan right now. The energy today favors decisions rooted in your own judgment rather than pressure from people around you. If it feels rushed, it probably is. Health. Here is what makes today genuinely worth paying attention to, and it is not obvious at first glance. Chiron's placement in your values house is not just about money or image. It is about the relationship you have with your own body, because for Taurus, self-worth and physical comfort are deeply connected. What that means practically is this: any self-soothing habit you have been trying to release, whether it is a drink, an overspend, or an old comfort behavior, is likely to get tested this week, especially when someone challenges your boundaries or your choices out loud. Most people will treat that test as a threat. It is actually an invitation. When the urge to self-soothe in the old way shows up, stepping into a quiet, natural setting tends to work far better than white-knuckling through it. A walk somewhere green, a slow moment outdoors, even 10 minutes away from screens, can settle a restless nervous system faster than most people expect. It is also worth quietly supporting your immune system through this stretch, since energy is being pulled toward emotional processing right now rather than physical reserves. On the subject of remedies, it is worth saying clearly. Some Vedic practitioners may recommend specific planetary remedies, including certain gemstones or mantras, for individuals whose birth charts genuinely support them. That is never universal advice. Gemstone prescription in Vedic astrology requires real chart analysis, not a blanket recommendation for an entire sign. If you are curious about that path, it belongs in a personal consultation, not a general broadcast like this one. Home and family. Picture a house where everyone quietly assumes the others already know what they need. Nobody says it out loud, so nothing changes, and small irritations pile up like unread mail on a counter. That is roughly the emotional weather at home right now, and it is exactly what Mercury's move into your fourth house is here to interrupt. You may find yourself wanting to bring up something specific: who is handling dinner, who is visiting this weekend, what actually makes the house feel restful to you. Say it plainly. The instinct to make a bigger point than the moment requires, just to feel heard, is understandable, but it tends to backfire. Keep the ask small and concrete. One practical adjustment, clearly stated, does more for your home life right now than a sweeping conversation about everything at once. Family meetings and home improvement talks in particular are likely to flow with less resistance than usual over the next couple of weeks, so if there is a conversation you have been postponing, this window is friendlier than most. Travel and spirit. If you have been eyeing a trip, this is a stretch to hold off rather than book impulsively. It is not that travel is forbidden, it is that the deeper work being asked of you right now is internal, not geographic. Chiron does not heal by distance. It heals by attention. The steady, quiet progress you may have noticed in yourself lately, a growing sense of peace that was not there a few months ago, is the real evidence that this inner work is already paying off. Think of it like renovating a house from the inside before repainting the outside. The visible changes, the new title, the different look, the bold career move, mean far more once the internal foundation is honest and settled. Trust your own judgment here rather than overthinking every decision. That trust is quietly being built through exactly this kind of steady, unglamorous inner effort. Lucky signs. Your favorable window today falls between 1:45 and 2:30 in the afternoon, a stretch worth using for anything that genuinely matters: a conversation, a decision, a request. Pink carries the day's luckiest energy for you, a gentle nod to the same self-worth themes running through everything else. If you are looking for a compatible mood to lean into, think warmth over intensity and steadiness over speed. Today's guidance. So here is where all of this actually lands. You are being asked to be more honest about your own worth, while being more careful with your words, especially at home and in front of people whose opinions matter to you. Say what you need clearly, but choose the moment. Move boldly at work only when the preparation actually matches the confidence. Protect your money and your energy from decisions made under pressure. And when the old urge to self-soothe shows up, let nature do what a drink or an impulse purchase never really could. None of this requires perfection today. It just asks for a little more honesty than usual, and a little more care with how that honesty gets delivered. Get that balance right even once, and you will feel exactly why this particular stretch of sky was worth paying attention to.